We need to get away from this December transfer portal window.
Johntay Cook and Washington have parted ways. The Texas transfer was on campus for roughly 48 hours before the decision was made. Johntay Cook is the result of the modern era of college football. When you have unlimited transfers and even more unlimited money, it will result in people with terrible reputations still getting opportunities because of the desperation and money that's associated with this wonderful, wonderful game. Johntay Cook, by all accounts from Texas, was a locker room issue, a problem. He was dismissed, but Sark put it in a better way. Hey, we was a mutual parting, and it's coming out that in Washington, the team that he just signed with 3 weeks ago, before even putting on any pads, obviously besides his cool announcement pictures, other than that, besides putting on any real pads, didn't even make it to spring, he is already in the transfer portal again. And that raises a lot of questions about the transfer portal and the issues that we on this channel have been banging the drum of, right? But more so, I think it speaks to some of my older people who are in my comments, right? Older than me, I will say, and y'all say, hey, maybe given this much opportunity and this much freedom to these young kids might not be the best idea. So we're going to talk about that idea. We're going to talk about Johntay Cook's journey here. But at the end of the day, the transfer portal is slowly but surely suplexing what you used to think college football is. So let's hop right into it. I appreciate y'all watching these videos. The support recently has been immaculate. Even if y'all disagree or don't agree, this is a channel where I love to have the conversation of football. There's a lot of serious things in the world that are happening to people. So if you can come and yell at me, a stupid Texas fan, about my silly football takes, please get in the comments and do so. And if you enjoy it around here, like I said, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and let's get more into it. Let's tell the tale of Johntay Cook. Johntay Cook was a 5-star prospect coming out. I don't think he keeps coming out of Texas. Yeah, he actually did come out of Texas. He won a state championship with DeSoto, if I am remembering correctly. Again, my commenters will comment and correct me. Flashy guy, lots of speed, explosive, played for Texas. Hey, we recruited him the year before. He gets some burn this year, and in the middle of November, he departs from the team. And it was, like I said, it was said to be a mutual departing, if you will, and that was the end of that, right? And with that being said, there were some signs, and I think the one of the bigger signs that people were pointing to were that, hey, maybe he just wasn't a good fit, athletic wise, you have some drop concerns right here. Now this looks like a potato, so I'm probably not going to have any transfer portal problems. I mean, any copyright problems. There's some clear drop problems, right? And that wasn't his only drop in Mississippi State. He had multiple drops, right? So very explosive player, but he seemed to, not capitalize off of opportunities, right? So it's easy just to say, okay, Texas is a stacked roster. It might just be he doesn't fit in where he get in. You got the Matthew Goldens, Isaiah Bonds. There's a lot of wide receiver, Ryan Wingo. There's a lot of talent there. It's easy how a 5-star can get washed out. I know that's crazy, but in Texas, okay, that could be what it is. Dismissed though. Dismissed is the word that was being used around the world in Texas and Austin. Now again, Sark put a little more plainly, mutual partying, XYZ. Johntay Cook had known character issues at Texas. Jed Fish brought him in over any other portal wide receiver. Things happened. Cook is now gone, and the wide receiver room is as thin as ever. Of course, talking about Washington and what they did. Texas fans warned us about Johntay Cook. They knew better. So I think the more time went on, it started to realize this wasn't just a bad fit. This was a character thing. And Sark, trying to be the consummate pro, coming from the world of Nick Saban, and tell me the last time you've ever seen Nick Saban throw somebody under the bus. He just doesn't do that. People say a lot of bad things about Nick Saban, and there's a right to criticize him. But one thing that I always praise him for is that he has not only instilled this into his what's it called, coaches that work with him, but it's something that he held close to him. And it doesn't matter if you mess up or you're bad or you're an idiot. I'm gonna give you another opportunity, even if it means he doesn't want to be with us. So, and it's clearly that he didn't want to be with us, and it's clear because I'm not sure if y'all remember, but when there was some news about some tampering about Quinn Ewers, and we've talked about this a few times, getting some money, transferring $6 million deal. Well, he was in the transfer portal. Not in the transfer portal. He had just committed. He was wasting y'all money, bad mouthing the starting quarterback at Tech. And look, that's fine. He could have been done dirty. That's a fair thing. I am always typically on the athlete side. Look, he could have just been done dirty. He could have just not got the touches. But I don't think that's what happens, because now we fast forward today, and like we said, 3 weeks in, after being on campus, a source confirms to On3 that Johntay Cook and Washington have parted ways. The Texas transfer was on campus for roughly 48 hours before the decision was made. Nothing is clear right now, and this just immediately, I know we already did a video on this, immediately reminds me of the Jaren Kiwi situation. Now, I know Jaren Kiwi would at least got on the field. He at least traveled. He at least put a real helmet on. That he at least got that far. So shout out to the young man for doing that, for committing out of high school and then immediately transferring. Now you have Johntay, who in 48 hours decides he can leave, and he hasn't transferred yet. But do you know why he was probably very happy or fine with just, oh yeah, let's just get up out of here? Because he knows that he can transfer in the spring. That is the issue. And this is where we kind of go back to the whole thing. People in my comments, I keep trying to defend. Nah, the young people will figure it out. I'm sorry. We got to restrict young people's decision making, because you end up like this. Johntay Cook, he could have no character issues. There's a possibility that Johntay Cook is just misunderstood. Now, how you don't make yourself more understood is by getting dismissed by one of the perennial programs in the nation at the time, one that went on to have a berth in the playoffs and clearly could probably use some wide receiver depth. I mean, Isaiah Bond was not the full person. We could have used some wide receiver depth. We didn't even want him. And then 48 hours, we'll give him 3 weeks. 3 weeks of being signed, 48 hours on campus, he's gone. This does not help yourself as a young, aspiring receiver trying to find a team. And it just keeps talking and it keeps insinuating these points that, hey, y'all told me, and y'all are right. This transfer portal, it's bigger than it just, oh, we need to tweak this and that. Dog, we have to make some major changes. So with those major changes, my man, Joel Klatt, who's trying to audition for, oh yeah, by the way, I completely forgot about the Colorado part of this. He played games with the Colorado people. He said, I ain't hard to find with Colorado. And it seems like Deion Sanders dodged another Cormani McClain. I don't know, dog. But let's hear what Joel Klatt has to say about changing what's it called, the transfer portal, and then I'll kind of give my take after that.
Portal is completely broken because we overlap. Now, this in part is going to be fixed if we finish the season on January 1st, but we need to get away from this December transfer portal window. That, more than anything else, is probably the most unsustainable thing in our sport. It's probably the most problematic thing for coaches, in some cases players, and certainly fans. So we need one transfer portal window. One. We don't need two, we need one. Now, you can make an argument that we could have it in January, and you can make an argument that we could have it in May. I favor the idea of having one transfer portal window in May. We should make it a bigger decision to transfer. It should not be as frivolous.
And I hate to stop, but mostly I'm stopping because I think that music might be copyrighted, so I'm going to have to stop. But that right there, and I think when I was watching that video, I was like, dang, that's when it really clicked to me. Regardless of the date that we choose, or if it's one or if it's two, whatever the solution is, I think that the outcome, and maybe that's wrong. You know, a lot of people say, look at the results, not the results, look at the process and not the results. But the result I think we would like to have, working backwards, is, hey, when they make this decision, this should be a tough decision to make. Not because it should put them in a bad spot, but because hopefully, with as many opportunities and as many advantages as the modern college football player should have, we're hoping that you make that right decision, the first time. And look, that's easier said than done. There's so many people who just go into regular college and figure out that, oh, I might have made a mistake. College might not have been, or this college is not the fit for me. So I think equally so, there can be the same type of weird disconnect there from a freshman to being a freshman on campus, a senior in high school and being a freshman on campus. But I don't know. In my head, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like you just shouldn't be able to transfer until your sophomore year. Like, I think that is like something that we can immediately fix. So you can at least hold on to the freshmen that you have, right? You can at least have them get a full year, and then, okay, now within this year, how are you feeling? Now do you need to transfer? Now we try to work some things out. You can see the full scope of things, and that would also change the way incoming transfers would come as well, right? So I'm thinking off the top of my head that can be something that's easy, because what I don't want to go back to, because this would immediately fix it. If we go back to the whole you have to wait like 1 year until you're eligible, that would immediately fix this. But I don't think people want to go back to that, because this 1 year is nice. It adds so much flexibility, and it allows teams to really add to and to patch holes that they need. So I don't want to take that flexibility away from athletic directors and coaches and teams. But at the same time, how do we do that in reverse? I think it's, hey, if you're a freshman, you have to stay a year. Or in general, if you transfer somewhere, you can play there, but you have to stay there 2 years. 2 of your years have to be there after you transfer. I don't know, but let's hear him go somewhere.
And by making it just one portal window, and in my estimation should be May, then you're forcing players and teams and programs to really make quality decisions, because they only get one for that year. And that's an important piece. And in some cases, if it's in May, it's after spring ball. Now, there's talk about what you could do with spring ball, make it more like OTAs, and maybe you'd have some practices after this, May window. And yeah, listen, Commissioner Klatt's office is open. Okay, so I'm open to ideas in terms of how we operate on the field in the spring semester, but I want one transfer portal window, and I want it to be in May, because I think players and coaches should make more quality decisions. And think of it from an academic standpoint, which I haven't mentioned yet, but if you're in school in the fall, you have to finish the school year at that location. That's just one of the things that the players are going to have to give up. They're going to have to give that up. I want one transfer portal window, and I think it would be better for the sport. You get one transfer. Now, that's born somewhat from data, because I can tell you that the normal student population in our country transfers on average as an undergraduate 1.5 times. Here's the baseline argument in this negotiation if I'm commissioned. We're sharing revenue with you. The normal student is not enjoying revenue share. So we will require more of you than we require of the normal.
I think that's okay. I remember back in the infancy stages when NIL and paying college players was more so a thought, right? It was more so an idea, a pipe dream. People were just thinking of, hey, how it could happen. When we were in those stages of it, I remember the big argument kind of against this was, hey, they're getting a free education. Now, if you really look into it, they're not getting a free education, right? They're getting a like augmented degree, and oftentimes where they don't finish, and or they get a degree that's not really worth it. Now, at the end of the day, it's a degree. Look, a degree is a degree, and if you're an adult, you know that if you got a degree, you can open some doors to do some things and make some stuff happen. But I think greater scale, just like you're saying, like not only NILs and collectives, and again, that's separate from schools. Now that we are paying you directly from what we're gonna get, we're cutting up our pie now. We're not having boosters come give you pie. We're cutting from our money now. When that happens, it starts to get a little stingy. It starts to get a little different, right? And it starts to really, I don't know, these organizations are really going to show you what their prioritizations are when the money has to start getting split up. And in doing so, I don't think that much of an expectation. Now you get the free education, which now we've completely forgot about. And now you get the money, and you're still going to have NIL money too, the actual NIL money. I think at that point, one transfer, I think that's fair. I think either the one transfer rule or transfer after 2 years or freshman transfer. Regardless, one window. It's so crazy to me that you have to recruit these players. Not only you have to recruit them to get there, recruit them in the window, and then recruit them in another window. Lord have mercy. Pray for them coaches. But hey, man, that's the modern world of college football. I wanted it to be positive. We're not here to ho-hum on it. Look, these kids are getting paid. They're getting paid. There's not a lot. There's not just all negatives. And we will have some more positives, as more positive news in the offseason. We're going to make more highlights and positive of the NIL stuff, because there's been a lot of sad stuff, a lot of mean things. But I promise you, there's a lot of good stuff out there. So we're going to show that to you. But if you're enjoying these college football videos, man, leave a like on the video. If you don't dislike it, subscribe if you enjoy college football content, man. We'll see you next time.